So we have a lot of to talk. Like if I look on my, I have, so with your topics, I have 35 like
Wow.
questions slash topics.
Okay. Well, to be fair, I had the attitude of let's try to get as many things down, so don't worry about going through all of mine. But yeah, we'll see how we get on, I guess.
But you have some good points there, and your perspective will be interesting because I'm doing sim racing since 2009, and I hate iRacing
Sure.
personally.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and you're an organizer, commentator, Apex, so you'll have a different perspective. So it will be never. Anyways, for the people at home, who are you?
So my name is Sam Fitzpatrick. I work at Apex Racing UK, and I do a combination of commentary, race organisation, social media, and lots of other things when it comes to sim racing.
Which one do you enjoy? Are you still a driver?
I dabble in it a little bit. I constantly boast about winning like the BSR Radical Winter Series back in 2019, but I don't do as much racing now. Like since I did or started doing sim racing full time, I've started doing a bit less sim racing on the side of it for fun. But I still dabble in it occasionally. It's still a bit of fun.
Did you do the Clio last year?
Was that the Clio?
Yes. Did you do it? Or am I mistaken?
I haven't raced the Clio. We did organise a series in it, but if I was gonna do a series, it would be IndyCar. Like that is like the IR18 is like a quality car, and so that's why I would dabble in. Since what we added, that's been like a good thing. So yeah, like that thing at Long Beach, probably the best car chat combo on iRacing for me.
Okay. We're miles apart. uh, and this is like hobby slash passion that you transform in work?
Yeah.
Or, okay, so how is it having your passion as a job?
Like I mean, it's pretty cool. Like when I finished university like a few years ago, I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do, and so when this job sort of came available, like it was a bit of a no-brainer. Like I've been doing sim racing since 2009, 2008, 2009, something like that. And to be fair, I've been doing stuff with Apex since 2017, but yeah, started working full time in sim racing in 2022. And yeah, like you know, sometimes I don't fully appreciate just how easy or just how like comfortable it is to be able to work in your hobby. But I do sometimes need to pinch myself and realize I am basically doing a job that is my hobby, and I'm one of the very select few people who I guess get to do that. You know, like not many people get to do their hobby as a job. So I try to make myself appreciative whenever I get a little bit stressed or whenever I get a bit grumpy at work.
What's the hardest thing? Because you hear people, oh, don't make your passion your job. So, what's the hardest thing or the thing that you miss of just being a passion?
I think I don't have the same appetite for driving anymore. Like I would say that has slowly diminished as the years have gone by. I'd say it reached a peak on iRacing at least in like 2017, where I was racing constantly, you know, maybe 5 races a week at least, doing an endurance race at like most weekends. And that's so diminished. But yes, since I started working at Apex, like, you know, I work at a sim center. I have 8 rigs downstairs that I could use at any time. And I get to 6 o'clock in the evening when I go home. I think I'm just going to go home, watch a movie, do whatever, and not drive because I've been at the sim center. And like, if I come in for, you know, if I'm in work for 5 or 6 days a week, on my day off, I'm not going to go, oh, you know what, I fancy going to you know, drive some rigs away from work for, you know, one day a week to, you know, keep myself refreshed and stuff. So like, yeah, that's the element that I miss, that my driving appetite has definitely reduced since I started working.
So the hunger.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like as well, like maybe an element of it as well is like being around professional sim racers, and these guys are like fighting for like a lot of money. Like, you know, not sure how relevant this will be when this gets posted up, but like last time the desk, Johan had like a tough round, and he lost like 7 grand or something. You know, Johan Hart, who we work with at Apex, and obviously, you know, I'm racing for, you know, 10i rating or something in comparison. So it becomes a little bit insignificant, you know, when you know you're literally racing in the room next to these guys who are batting for 20 grand, and you're, you know, 3k. So
I understand.
yeah,
Um, so I presume you were a fan of motorsport, and then you dabbled in sim racing, and then the job at Apex. How how did you pull this off?
yeah. So
Like the job?
I think like yeah, I was like an F1 fan. My dad got me into F1. I probably became like a proper fan when I was like 7, and then started doing sim racing on F1 2002, designed by EA Sports. A really good game, and did that for like a few years from about the age of 8. And then I guess got into the F1 Codemasters games, and then I think I lost a little bit of interest in it because, you know, you do those games and it becomes a bit boring eventually. But then of course iRacing comes around and it's like the online aspect of it, and like that really like reinvigorates me. So go into iRacing in 2016. So when I was 15, I did my first commentary with Apex when I was 16, and then like worked part time at Apex between commentaries and league organization for 6 years, I guess. No, 5 years. And then I left university, and this was when the Sim Centre, which I'm at the moment, I'm currently in the studio. That's when this place opened, and I was basically, me and Lewis Ward were like the first full-time employees at Apex. So it was a very good kind of timing of it. I'm very pleased that I got into the commentary when I did, because without that, I wouldn't have got the full-time job. So yeah, I sort of have gradually grown into the business. But yeah, I've now been working for Apex for 7 years now at this point, which is pretty crazy to
Oh,
think.
good. And so do you ever like have? I'll give you an example. So I like driving, and that's why I have the truck driving job. I never get bored. Do you get bored doing the work, or like are you like shit, I need to go to work?
Yeah, I still get that. Like, it depends on what the project is. Like commentary, I love. You know, I really love commentary. And when I first joined that, like, you know, that's what I did for my first 3 years at Apex, was just doing commentary. And yeah, I love that. I love doing, you know, chatting with people. I've met some fantastic people through commentary over the years. You can have a laugh. It's something that isn't super serious. Like, there's never a commentary that I take super seriously. And so that's just fun. League organization for ARL, a lot of fun. I really enjoy that, and the work is really great. I can just listen to music whilst I'm just working through stuff, and it's really nice. But there are some projects where it gets annoying when you're doing stuff that you're not comfortable with. For example, you know, doing some social media stuff and you're working with like real life cameras. That's something I don't have a whole lot of experience with. That can get stressful when you're not sure exactly how to do something, or maybe we're organizing like a big event for like a client, and there's, you know, maybe we've been paid, you know, thousands of pounds to put on this event, and I'm organizing a session and I'm making sure that I don't mess up something, because if I mess up one setting, then the whole event would just collapse. That's stressful as well. So when it's certain areas, I don't fear coming into work whatsoever. I enjoy coming into work, but there's a few projects that you have to do occasionally in my role, which can get stressful, and that's sort of the work that maybe I wish I, you know, sometimes I do, you know, fear coming into work for those elements of it.
So sticking with that, tell us like one project that you're proud of, but proud not only that you're gonna show your sim racing friends, you're gonna show your father or like your family, your friends outside of sim racing. I did this thing. Look how cool it is. But also tell us like a mistake or like some sketchy things that you did, and you remember like, oh my god, that was crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a really good question. I think in terms of something that I'm proud of doing, um, I think at Apex we've been doing some work with like AMG like over the last couple of years, and I think like working with a big brand like that is pretty cool. And being able to say that we're working with those quite close, and that's really good. But I'd say honestly, in terms of like the proudness element of it, I'd still say like the commentary, like it's just something that I enjoy so much, and almost the proudness comes from doing something and being paid to do something that I really enjoy. My dad always said when I was growing up that like what you need to do is you need to get good at something, or you need to find something that you enjoy, get good at it, and then find someone to pay you to do it. And with commentary, that's exactly what I've done. Where like I feel like I've progressed as time has gone on to the point now where obviously I can get paid to do it. So that's something that I'm really proud of. In terms of something that I've messed up, there's probably quite a long list. I remember when Nights came out on iRacing. This wasn't a big event, fortunately, so it didn't matter too much. But I think I set like a Bathurst race to start at 7 p.m. rather than 7 a.m. And so the whole race was just at night, and this was back when you didn't have trackside lighting, and probably the headlights were barely on. So that was bad. I remember there was an event that we organised. I won't say with the specific series, but I didn't test like the format beforehand, and we were meant to have, and this involved like pro drivers as well. Like Alejandro Sanchez was one of them, and some other very quick guys who were in like ESLR1 in PESC and whatever. And I messed up the settings for that, and it ruined the entire meeting basically. And like that was like quite a big event that we were putting on, and that was bad. Yeah, but I feel like with all of them, I get so stressed about it now that I like to think that I won't make those mistakes again. So hopefully that's all the mistakes I will ever make. But iRacing sessions are just the absolute pain of my life. Where you just got to make sure everything is precise. Otherwise, you set the start time wrong, it's messed up. You have like a certain heat format in iRacing, and you don't quite put it right, the whole event's messed up, and like that's like the stress which comes into it.
I do the sessions for my team, and I'm like we do VSR now, and they don't have a specific hour, like 10 a.m. or something. They have like morning. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
what's morning? Okay, sunset is at this. So I have to Google search everything. Where is sunset at that location in that date? So that means morning. And then I look the definition of morning. Well, morning is 2 hours after sunrise. So I do all of this. I look the session, and then I'm like, okay, God willing, and let's go.
Yeah.
I mess up a lot. About commenting, do you have like a ritual or like some, I don't know,
I will like yeah.
drivers?
I mean, I think just standard stuff. You gotta go to the toilet. Okay. For this, I mean, I followed this ritual for today. So I went to the toilet before this. I brought like some water for me to drink during. You need to make sure that you're fueled. So I got some food here. Um, and yeah, so that's what you need to do. Then as well, like just obviously it's quite an obvious thing to say, but just make sure that you know what you're talking about. Like when it comes to the series, I had a commentary yesterday, which I really messed up on some stuff in terms of like the basic like elements of the series. Thought that there was like a reverse grid when there wasn't, and just making sure that you get into it and like know what you're talking about. Remind yourself about the drivers, about the championship. You got to set up a lot of like software as well before you get into the race. So yeah, it's just doing bits like that. But I'm not the most organized person, honestly, when it comes to all of that stuff. Sometimes we'll jump in 5 minutes beforehand, being totally unprepared, and then figure it out on the go.
You have a great thing there. specific. So you said, let's call it recollection. Be it driver base in this series, so you have to recollect how good or bad is the driver or like general stuff, but also recollection of in terms of previous races or events. Is that really important for commentary, or you can do commentary without it, or like you can?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like, I think I'd say it's like you can do well, I think, in a commentary if you don't know like the drivers already, but like yeah, it takes it to like the next level, I think, and like that's part of what I enjoy is like when you get to like near the end of a season, like we were discussing aerial endurance before, weren't we? And like by the end of that season, yeah, I could remember. I feel like almost everything that happened in the season, and could talk about it. And I really like making references to stuff that happened 2 months before. And I like to think I've got quite a good memory when it comes to that. Where I'm like, oh, this guy's running in P3. That would be his best result of the season because he got fourth 2 months ago in this race at this circuit or whatever. So yeah, I think that is an important element, and you notice it like because some of the at Apex we always try to have broadcasts so that the same people do every single broadcast. But sometimes you have someone who comes in midway through the season, and you can tell that they're not as familiar with the drivers as the other person. And yeah, it does take it down there. But I think as well from like the driver's perspective, and of course, like you've probably got a perspective as well. Like when it comes to these broadcasts, like you want it to be as much like a real life broadcast, as much as like F1 as possible, and that's like a fundamental thing when it comes to like motorsport, that the commentators know who all these guys are. They know the narrative, they know the previous seasons, they know who the guys are, and so yeah, learning that stuff like is important for like the quality of the broadcast, but it's also just very like interesting, I think, to follow and just to get to know people.
That's why I wanted to talk with you, because you have a really good recall. Because I don't only watch the broadcast that my team is in, but I'll watch other broadcasts. So I said, you remember, oh, this drive? Sometimes you'll say, oh, this drive is a little bit more aggressive, because you know the driving style of that specific driver. Oh, he's going to attack because he's not going to waste time because he's aggressive. Not aggressive, but a different one. He's more precise or like stuff like that. So I like that. I have another uh, person that I like in sim racing. He doesn't do commentator anymore, which I hate. And if he ever sees this video, he's gonna curse at me. But his name is Ryan Callan. I don't know if you heard of him.
Was it Ryan?
Ryan Callan.
I don't think I'm familiar with Ryan. No, who did he do broadcast with?
Well, it was before this big iRacing event, so it was Touring Pro Series or any other sim.
Sure.
Factor 2, 1, Razor 7, and he did. So in 2016-17, Race Room had the WTCC Championship, like the official World Touring Car Championship. He was commentating on that. Very good recall. Also, very, very, very fast driver. So he had the perspective from being fast, also very aggressive, and he had so much recall from real life. So he will see a movie sim racing. Oh, this looks like Monza 1984. Like someone like, whoa. I really like him, and I have two questions from this. Have you met a person in real life that is good at a part of sim racing, either be a commentator or the driver, and if you feel that if this guy keeps up, he's gonna be really good, but life doesn't go that way, and he chooses another path, and you're like. And another question is, and this is starting also. Do you need to be proper fast to commentate well on really fast drivers, or do you need to be proper fast to assess steward doing? Like if you're 10 seconds off the pace, the stewarding will be the same. So there are like three questions. Right?
Yeah, like I think in terms of guys who, yeah, could have. I think there's like probably a lot of sim racers, like so maybe not on the commentary side of it, but in terms of like pro sim racers who probably just like aged at the wrong time, and even some of the guys that I work with when it comes to professional sim racers, like it's probably Jamie. I think is probably the oldest of the sim racers. He's got a bit unlucky because like he's 28. I think and so he's got years as Jamie. We joke about it that he's like quite an old man, but like he has got some time of it. But there's a lot of sim racers who I think who were probably good 10 years ago, maybe like Martin Conker or whatever, or Gregor Hooty, who are absolute legends. And they been 10, 20 years younger, could have done sim racing full time. Instead, they've had to do other stuff since then in order to pay for stuff because obviously, certainly a few years ago, the money wasn't there to do it full time, and those guys were certainly good enough to do it. I think in terms of commentary, I think some of the best commentators that I've worked with have unfortunately, dropped out at times. I mean, like Marco Barbanero is an absolute legend. I hope he returns to commentary at some point. And some others I've really enjoyed working with. Tim Cox as well, and several other guys who have done a lot of commentary in the past, and could probably do it full time. Like it's cool to see someone like Chaz Jacob, for example, be able to take his sim racing commentary full time as well. Like he commentates on real life stuff. So like I think I've met a lot of commentators who I wish had continued doing commentary since. What was the third question on that?
Do you need to be
Oh yeah,
commentator / steward?
The problem is I'm not that fast. So if I say you do need to be, then I can say then the answer is that I can never be a very good commentator. So for that reason I'll say no, you don't have to be good. I think I'm a big fan of tennis, and I think sometimes you got very good tennis coaches who were real life players. But it's the same with maybe football is a more wide ranging thing. I know Jose Mourinho wasn't a great player, but he's a very, very good manager. So I think you can be a very good commentator, even if you're not a great driver, a very good steward as well. I think particularly when it comes to sim racing, because I think there's a difference between like talent. I think like motorsport generally is so talent oriented. I think you look at it like with Gilles Villeneuve and Jacques Villeneuve. You look at it, Nico Rosberg and Keke Rosberg. Like, how many sports have you got it where like father and sons win titles? And that happens quite often in Formula 1. Graham Hill, Damon Hill is another one. Then Jos Verstappen, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz Senior, Carlos Sainz Junior. Like it happens absolutely all the time. So like I think like that's sort of like almost like a genetics thing or something where someone's like really good, but they don't necessarily know why they're quick. They've just got talent. Whereas I think someone else actually might have more perseverance, might even know more about driving, but because they haven't got the genetics, aren't able to get to that top level, but maybe know more about how to drive faster than someone who is faster than driving at them, if that makes sense. So I think you can be. I don't think you need to be particularly good. On the best commentators I've chatted with, like Marco Barbanero, for example, amazing commentator, rubbish driver, awful driver, like 700 I rating, like really not a good driver, like and yet he's just one of the most fantastic commentators I've chatted with. Yeah, I don't think it matters.
About the talent thing, I have a driver that he's my friend. He's David Bosga. He's 9.7K, driver Simify. And he says, "Oh, talent doesn't exist." But then he will go, then he will say, "Oh, I can feel the braking and the like stuff." I said, "What do you feel? I have the same force feedback. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, so, I don't know if my talent answer is like, I don't know if that's like a cop out, like, oh, I'm not very good, but it's not my fault because I wasn't born like as a good driver. Maybe that's like an easy answer for me, but I know I look at it from like the real life driver's perspective, and the names that I listed before, like there are so many great father and son, and brothers as well, like Ralf Schumacher and Michael Schumacher, like and Mick Schumacher, like that family is insane. The Andretti family is insane. Like there's got to be something about those people which makes them good drivers. Surely.
I agree with you. There is talent, and clearly we have proof in real life. I just provide the perspective that some of the drivers in sim racing, like David, there's no such thing as talent. I'm like, man, you're insane.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think Cristiano Ronaldo said it, talking about soccer, talent without work is nothing.
That's true.
Because I know I have a driver in my team, Mihai, come back. Like, his level of talent, and I have seen plenty of drivers in my team or outside. I'm going to provide an Pablo, I'm sorry. So we did some coaching with LMP2. With Pablo, 9 point something K, LMP2 winner, Daytona, so a really fast guy. Mihai comes, and it does about half an hour practice for, I think it was Watkins, and he was 110 faster.
Sure. Just
And that's
turns up.
He turns, okay, if you want to have shit tire wear, but he comes and he's like 5 laps, he's on the pace. I'm like, but life is 18, so he has other objectives now, but he's that level of talent is like absolutely very easy. Anyway, which is, tell me a commentator that you like from real life.
Oh, good question. Alex Jakes, I think. I think he's probably my favourite. Done a lot of F2. He now does the F1 commentary, like it's like the world stream now because the industry isn't stream, I think, anymore. So yeah, Alex Jakes is a legend. Probably my dream F1, my dream F1 with Terry lineup would be Alex Jakes and Anthony Davidson. Davidson's another very cool guy. So obviously, my Walker is a legend, um, and yeah, but I'm going to be very negative here. Like I dislike commentators more than I like them. Like it's more often that I'll go, oh my god, I cannot stand this guy. More often than wow, this guy's great. Like Crofty, David Crofts, fun commentator. Again, he's a legend of the sport, and he's done some amazing stuff. Like probably the best bit of commentary I've ever seen in my life was him commentating on the last lap at Abu Dhabi 2021. I think that's like just perfect commentary, and like the way that he managed to increase the moment in that was spectacular. 99% of the time, I can't stand him. Like he just says so many things incorrectly, and I'm not talking about. So some people will give him stick if he calls Sainz Leclerc. That doesn't matter. If you're the viewer, you can figure that out for yourself. It doesn't matter. But it's just the way that he can't read the race sometimes, and he'll anticipate different strategies which aren't going to happen, which obviously aren't going to happen. And it's like, why do you think that is going to happen? So, and I'm a big tennis fan, like I said earlier on, and sometimes there's commentators, like there's Greg Ruzetsky, who's famous tennis player from the past. Remember, he did a match, and whenever one of the players won a point, you would say, "Oh yeah, this player's probably going to win the match because of this," and then the other person would win the point, and they'd go, "Oh well, this player's probably going to win the match because of this," and he would just flip flop every point about who's going to win the match, and it's like, mate, just have like a take on it and stick with it. Another commentator who did like Tim Henman, who like is a big deal in this country, known as one of who got to the semi-finals of Wimbledon many times. A really dull commentator, like just says the most boring stuff, and sometimes he'll just go for cop-out answers, like you hear it sometimes with commentators, you hear it in every sport, the mentality, oh well, you didn't win this match, you didn't win this race because his mentality was wrong. It's such like an easy answer, which often isn't the answer. Sometimes it is, but often it's just a cop-out answer. So many commentators I don't like, and I think maybe my main inspiration, more than trying to replicate commentators, is to not be like some of the commentators and not to make the same mistakes that they do. But yeah, like I said, Alex Jakes, absolute legends. I could listen to that all day long. I think he's an awesome guy, and I think some of the sim racing commentators as well are absolutely fantastic. as well. So yeah, I think honestly the standard of commentary in sim racing I think is spectacular, like as high as real life motorsport in my opinion.
So in sim racing, I had to, since Ryan is not doing commentating anymore, I thought like, well, I need to find somebody else. So I have Lewis McGrady and you.
So was that
So I'm in sim racing,
you
Lewis
and McGlade?
McGrady.
Yeah, Lewis McGlade. Yeah, fantastic commentator as well. Really good commentator.
Again, but he is not gonna like this. But again, I like Ryan Callan. So I don't have him. Well, what are my other options? So you're like my other options, you and Lewis. So sorry about that. But I'm like you in sim racing. I have so much criticized, like criticized the sim racing commentators so much. I'm like, bro, are you watching the race? Like the same
Sure.
race?
Yeah.
Like, no. And I did some commentator back at race department. So I have been in that position. I have been in the position to see the race from a different aspect, or like the camera guys is doing something different. So that's why I feel more entitled criticize some commentators. Like, bro, I've done this. I didn't do it good, and my accent doesn't help me, but I know the perspective. So I'm like, what you talking about? Anyway, since you brought up tennis, Rafa or Federer?
Federer. But they're both legends. Djokovic, in my opinion, and this is getting dangerously off topic, but Djokovic, in my opinion, is the greatest of all time. It's a big conversation whether it's Djokovic, Nadal, or Federer. Some edgy people will go like Sampras or Laver, but for me, Djokovic is the greatest of all time. But I like Federer the most.
And also the three, and you can debate and spin whatever. Like, let's put them equal. You said you watch motorsport and Formula One. Do you like a team or a slash driver?
I'm a Hulkenberg fan. I am a big Nico Hulkenberg fan. So, like, just he's just like a nice guy, like quite a smart guy as well. Like, very knowledgeable about the world from what I've heard from him, and so talented. Like, one of the best wet weather drivers of the last 15 years. Like, is I maybe put like maybe Verstappen, Hamilton above him in the wet, and like that's it. Like, he's a fantastic wet weather driver. Uh, and yeah, his perseverance is great, and I just love. And also, it's like an attachment to my youth because like I was 9 when he joined F1, and so I barely remember a time before Hulkenberg. So the fact that he's still around is fantastic. Absolute legend of a guy.
And team?
I don't really get behind the team because I struggle to identify necessarily with the team. I mean, I guess like I want to go Haas, but Haas do annoy me because they are quite incompetent. I guess Ferrari, honestly. I want to see Ferrari win because I got into Formula One in 2008. I've never seen Ferrari win a drivers' championship, so I want to see Ferrari win. I'd also say I'm a big Alonso fan as well, and I think Alonso and Ferrari, I still find that quite synonymous because again, that's what I grew up with. So if like if Ferrari won the title with Alonso and Hulkenberg, that would be my dream.
Yeah, I'm a Ferrari fan since I started watching in '97.
Yeah.
I have like the prancing horse on my back. I have Ferrari paraphernalia every year, so I've been waiting for a long time.
It's like they've got the best. It's the most like passionate sort of team and the one with the strongest identity. Other teams, you feel like they come and go in terms of people, in terms of identity. Like Williams now feels very different to what Williams were 10 years ago, and 10 years before that, and 10 years before that. Whereas Ferrari always seems like there's something continuous about it.
I think Vettel did me a very huge favor, because now this is my ultimate argument against people that don't like Ferrari. Bro, everyone is a Ferrari fan. They don't admit it. but everyone is a Ferrari fan.
Yeah. Everyone will. I mean, it'll be interesting when Hamilton goes there because obviously Hamilton fans, I feel like, are the ones who dislike Ferrari a lot because that was a rivalry in the early part of his career. But if you're a Hamilton fan, you've got to support Ferrari now. So, it's only Verstappen fans who won't be able to support Ferrari now. I feel like everyone else has got to like Ferrari.
Yeah. So, what's your a day of work for you?
What was that say?
A day of work.
Oh, a day of work. So, how can I separate it out? So you've got Apex Racing TV, which is probably the most fun, I think. And of course, that's like commentaries. So, yeah, it's just the work that I feel like I can just sit at my desk, put on my headset, do the ritual, like I said before, get a drink, and yeah, chat about racing. So that's a lot of fun. I guess Apex Racing League as well takes up a lot of time, especially recently, doing some work for like different clients. So organizing racing for them. I might go do some. I mean, it's a big bad thing. What do I actually do when it comes to work? Uh, I'll be I'll be figuring out like rules documents. I'll be setting stuff up on Discord, on websites to make stuff look good and whatever. I'll be organizing drivers when it comes to like registrations and when it comes to results. And when it comes to setting classes for drivers or whatever. And then we do a lot of like social media stuff as well. So do a lot of videoizing. That's what I spent most of today doing, like creating like a highlights package for a client from a race. But then also when it comes to like Apex, so that might be for something on Apex Racing TV or Apex Racing League. But then we also do stuff for Apex Racing Team as well, which is our pro sim racing division. And so we might interview the drivers about an upcoming race, for example, or we might do a video featuring them in a previous race and showing like a highlight and overtake that they did, for example. A bit to be fair, Lewis Ward, who is the person who I work with most often, and a very talented driver as well as Lewis. He probably does most of the team stuff. But then, sometimes we'll do stuff like Apex Racing simulators. So that might be a rig hire. That might be, we have to drive a few rigs over to London, for example. We did that last year for the Porter Retail Group, and put some rigs in their car dealerships and let people race on them. So like Apex is such a multifaceted company. Like there's no company like it when it comes to sim racing, and that's what like Alex Simpson and Lee Thompson, who are like the heads of Apex, have always tried to do is let's do race events, get money from that. Let's do broadcast, get money from that. Let's do software, get money from that. Let's do rig hires, get money from that. Let's sell equipment, get money from that. Let's take a proportion of prize money from the Apex Racing team as well, get a bit of that. And that means that you can have a professional squad of drivers you can race for money, because there's, you got maybe Kawanda, you got like Red Line, and you maybe got like 3 other teams who actually have salaried drivers. Apex is one of those few drivers, and it's because we've got all those different facets of the company which enable us to fund Apex Racing team to be able to go racing, and that's what makes it such a unique company.
So, I have a question, and this is like, when I talk with people, they say it's a hot take, but I don't think so. So, should real life be merging with sim racing, or like they're both some kind of motorsport categories, but they're like parallel and they go like straight and never merge? I'm on the second.
I think is a really good question. Like, so I think the two examples you can take from is Virtual Le Mans and ESL R1. So Virtual Le Mans had Verstappen in it. It had loads of real life drivers all racing in the championship alongside sim racers as well, but you merged it together. ESL R1, it was just professional sim racers. And I think with Virtual Le Mans, like honestly, had more of a viewership. Like Virtual Le Mans had thousands of viewers, and you see when Verstappen does a stream for Redline, he gets 10,000 Twitch viewers, even more than that. Like 100,000 Twitch viewers. I think got 500,000 across the entirety of like Daytona 24 on Twitch. Like it's absolutely insane how many views he can get. But at the same time, is it sustainable? Like, if you have the real life drivers come from real life racing to sim racing, you're reliant on those real life drivers to stay in sim racing, and sim racing is never growing itself. The names in sim racing are never growing. But the issue is it takes a lot of effort to make these guys worthwhile. Like it's sort of happened, I guess, with F1 Esports. Like Jarno Opmeer is probably the most famous sim racer, I would say now. And if he does a Twitch stream, he will have 10 to 20,000 people watching him potentially. But it's difficult to build that up. Like not everyone is familiar with sim racing, and you need to build up who these teams are, who these drivers are, in order to actually get a following, and then you actually need to make a product which is worth watching for people in order to increase the viewership. So I'm sort of in two minds at the moment. Undoubtedly, merging the two of them is having more success. But if enough perseverance, if enough effort is put into it, maybe sim racing can stand alone and be self-sufficient in itself.
Okay, so my take is, like you said, if real life drivers come, clear there's a win for sim racing. But if you're looking at other games, Counter Strike, LoL, Dota, whatever, what sim racing is missing is a fan base.
Mm.
So in Counter Strike, they have a team, and people that watch at Counter Strike, again, I have people of my age that watch Counter Strike and watch like the finals and stuff. Oh, I want to buy the same mouse or whatever as the team that I support. We don't have that in sim racing.
No.
We have some sort of fans. I like Redline because Verstappen is that, but you're not fan of the team, or you're not. I haven't seen fans of. Oh, I like X driver, and I'm gonna support him, and I'm gonna. It's just this like I watch some streams, but I watch them because they're entertaining, not that I'm a fan.
Sure.
I think that's the difference.
Absolutely. And
So,
like, like it may be a little bit like abstract, but like football, for example, football's the biggest sport in the world because everyone's got a team. Like I was born in Norwich, for example. So growing up, it was Norwich. I was a Norwich fan. Like I didn't even need to think about it because that's what. So you're absolutely right in terms of like the fans is the way people get into sport. The thing that worries me though is how ESL one struggles in season one, where they absolutely did what you basically said in terms of trying to increase the fan engagement with the teams. They were trying to make the teams an identity. They were trying to make the drivers a big deal, and they invested a lot of money into it. And at the end of the season, the viewership was no higher than what it was at the start of the season. In fact, it was a lot lower than it was at the start of the season. So I'm I'm scared of like I'm scared that either the product isn't good enough for people to watch it in the first place, or is it just a case that we've just got to keep doing stuff like ESL one, just do it year after year after year, and eventually the viewership will increase. I mean, did you watch ESL one at all? Really, did you catch much of it?
actually, I think it's 1 year past. I worked for Esports,
Oh, okay.
so I had not a big job. I was not anything big there, but I had some sort of deal with it. My biggest problem was, yes, they tried very hard on the what you said, team engagement, everything. But at that time, and even now, the game, the product is garbage.
Sure. Yeah.
So you can have the biggest engagement, but if people can play or like enjoy the experience of the same people that they like to watch or support, what was the point? It's like me watching, I don't know, I like MotoGP. And I'm watching MotoGP, but I don't have a bike. So I'm more detached. I still like enjoy watching it, but I cannot try to be more involved. So that's why I think iRacing and Gran Turismo. Again, I hate so much iRacing. Oh my god! But they have this thing. Look, if you like Apex, VRS, or what, whoever, oh, they're racing GT3s. Oh, I can race GT3.
Hmm.
It's so easy to replicate what you enjoy watch. But I think, and this is one thing that and maybe I'm spoiling this for myself, and maybe you can do it for your team. None of the teams are doing stuff together. So, like in Apex, I presume most of the drivers have their own Twitch.
That's a good question, actually. So recently, that is something we have changed, where we're encouraging the drivers to do more stuff on the Apex Racing Team Twitch channel. So we're learning from you.
Yeah, not for me, but I always tell my team, and I don't have a team at the moment where I want to be, but I tell them, yo, if I want to be a tier 2 team, I cannot get partnership money or something from the general sim racing paraphernalia because they're taken. I cannot approach Samsung or any other because they're like big teams. So I said, well, except my own pocket, how can I make money in the future? Well, if you look at what's the five guys in UK that have a big YouTube channel, KSI and stuff.
Siphon, is that what they're called? Yeah.
And I think as after team, as a boy band or a girl band,
Sure.
a fan will like the drummer, a fan will like the singer, but all fans come at the same concert.
Sure.
So if if your team Apex, you have all the drivers streaming on Apex YouTube channel or Twitch, all the fans will come there. And I think from that you can grow. Because all the fans will come for the team. Oh, I like James or whoever, but I have to go on Apex team. And then I'll find out more about the team. Maybe I'll support the team, not only the driver. But you can support only the driver. But if you keep it separate, then they'll go on James Twitch, then you don't give a shit about Apex.
Mm.
And not giving a shit about Apex, you don't grow the community. Because supporting a driver will have a limit. Unless the driver creates his own team.
Sure. Yeah.
Supporting the team and fans, each team having fans, then the community grows. And they'll all like a t-shirt from Apex or a mouse or pedals or whatever. So that's my mentality, but I don't see any of the teams doing. Well, you said you started.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like red line to it a little bit. Like I think they've gone heavy into the Twitch element, but I mean it's difficult to judge red line, isn't it? Because it's so Verstappen oriented, isn't it? That it's like a bit of an extreme one. Yeah, like so. Yeah, we're really trying to do that. Like at the same time, I think you mentioned it there. Like in terms of it being like individuals, and then they come together, and people are at the same concert if it's like the same band. We are also encouraging them to do like sort of their own stuff as well on like their own social media to increase their publicity, and then yeah, say I'm an Apex driver as well, and then you've got multiple people coming together into one thing. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And building the teams as well is such a big thing when it comes to like any sport. Like, kind of bring a tennis back up, but Federer quits. What do Federer fans do? There's not like an obvious thing for them to do. A lot of them probably go, Federer's out now. I'm not interested anymore. He was my player. Whereas in football, if I don't know, Wayne Rooney retires or leaves Man U, it doesn't matter. I'm still a Man U fan at that point because you're a fan of the team rather than the driver. So no, it's a really big thing. And yeah, once we have bigger deal teams, then yeah, I think that could well be the key when it comes to esports in sim racing.
So in my team, there's the joke that I'm a communist. It's okay, I don't care. But like, if someone is in my team longer than 6 months, the rule is, and I'm gonna get so much hate for this. You stream on one YouTube channel first. If you want to double stream on Twitch on your own, great. But what comes first? The team comes first.
Sure.
So I'm very adamant on that. And I'm adamant because back in the day I did athletics, which is not kind of a team sport. But after that I did university sports. So I learned a bunch of theory, a bunch of psychology, team psychology and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, if you're not focusing on the team, not to raise drivers, but the awareness of the team, then the fans will not stick. The fans will go with the driver, and if the driver quits, you're like stuck. So that's anyway. So hope you do that more.
Yes. Yeah.
And because you said here, how sim racing esports can try to increase engagement. Well, this is the answer.
Mm.
The teams.
Yeah. It's all about having people to support. Having some kind of like desire to see a result happen. Like I would say, my interest in Formula One has increased more since Hulkenberg came back, because I don't really care who wins the race. But if he's 10th, it's a great day. So like that's like absolutely. People need to support the drivers. They need to support the teams, as you say, a lot more. And that's the key to it.
Another topic that we have here, the threat of iRacing losing its position at the top of sim racing to other titles. I don't know. I think we should smoke some weed or something to see this happening, but
Yeah, to be fair, what I should say is, like, it's not like the top of sim racing. Obviously, like, there's other games that are way bigger. Like even probably like Aesthetic Corsa is probably bigger, I would have thought, in terms of user base. And even like ACC nowadays is probably fairly similar when it comes to user base. But when it comes to like the esports side of it, like iRacing is definitely still at the top. Like between PESC and all the other stuff that comes with that, with Porsche GB and all the different regional championships. And you got like IMSA, you got British F4, you got the special events. iRacing is still the king of it. And it's just like a thing that seems to come up every time. I remember when Project Cars came out. Must have been like 2014. And I think there's like forum posts that you can find on the iRacing forums, if they're like archived, which are like, you know what, this could be bad news for iRacing. And obviously didn't make an impact on iRacing. And you can't, and ACC comes along. Oh, it could be it for iRacing. It's fine. Rensport comes along. Could be a problem for iRacing. Not a problem. iRacing is only growing every time. So like, but I feel like now, and I don't know why it's taken so long, but the other games are actually getting better when it comes to online racing, because that's what iRacing does well. Like, iRacing isn't big because of its physics, or its tracks or its cars. There's an element of that, but it's big because of the online and because of LFM, Local Motorsport. Like ACC has like tripled its users. And like it wasn't even something that ACC really did. It was like a third-party company that came in and managed to increase the size of the sport. So I don't know if like that will maybe cause some rivalry to increase or not. I mean, I still think a third party is probably not going to take on iRacing. Like ACC actually needs to take it on themselves. But yeah, I just find it funny how there's been like 5 occasions where games have been released and people think it's the death of iRacing, and iRacing just grows and takes no notice of it.
I'll give a little bit of pushback of iRacing top of championships. And this is, I'm kind of biased because I come from race room. So the fact that the race room has ADAC, DTM, so like official big series, real life series, and in the past they had the Cupra and the WTC. I'm like, iRacing, what you doing? I know you're cheap, but come on. There's a race room. I don't race room, but yeah, like I don't know, 2,000 people or whatever. Just take care of what you want it and buy those licenses. Come on.
Sure. Yeah. What are the prize pools in those race room like events? Do you know?
Okay. DTM now I think it's the price pool advertised is 50,000 euros,
Okay.
but the driver I think will not get 50,000. I think it's broadcast scale, whatever, but they will get like I hope 20,000.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
one had some really good, I suppose, but in the I think before the pandemic, they had the DTM that you win the DTM and then you go to GT4 real life in German championship. I'm like, okay, you both need to be parallel. But see, if that happens, that's great. And there are like a few drivers that did the transition. And I'm like, I racing. What you doing? Like, some does that and you're not doing jack shit?
Yeah. No, yeah, there's and trust me, like there's yeah. I reckon could really improve it. Considering that they've got like the infrastructure to host these events better than anyone. And they've got a decent amount of licenses, so they really don't make full use of it. Like Pesca's really stalled, I would say, when it comes to sort of engagement in terms of growth over the last few years. A few years ago, it was big, and credit to Porsche as well. You know, to put up prize money every year, like they're putting up like 100 grand every year. Plus, you know, that's just the prize pool. Let alone organising it all is probably another 100 grand or whatever. So yeah, credit to them for actually investing in esports. But yeah, iRacing could do a better job at it, definitely.
They have the wallet.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing important. Like, I would love for them to buy a BTCC license.
Yeah,
Imagine that. But having the BTCC like from the 90s all the way now.
well, it's got to go somewhere. So I don't know where that will end up. Like obviously, iRacing brought the NASCAR license from Motorsport Games. I guess Motorsport Games will keep the WEC license, and then that leaves I think it's just the BTCC one, but even that has just gone. Like I don't think Motorsport Games can even sell that. I think BTCC like cut the agreement so that they can't. They're just basically a free agent now. Like it's open to anyone to buy. I think.
I think in they're in Air Factor 2, but again, motorsport games. But the last story I heard is that the BTCC owner consortium, whatever, they ask like, I don't know, $1 billion license or
Oh,
some
really? Yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
So
I
I'm
mean,
gonna buy it. Like,
they should be the ones. Well, they shouldn't be paying other people to take it, but it's mutually beneficial. A game benefits by having the cars, and it's beneficial for BTCC because people will be like, "Cool, I can drive these cars, and I really enjoy driving these cars. I'm going to watch the series now. I'm going to start following the championship." That's really and like IMSA as well have annoyed me with that as well. I know that they do the IMSA Global Esports Championship on iRacing, but they put like 50 grand or something up for prize money. Come, like they can put up more. Like this is pennies for these people. I think there was one as well, which was British GT. They've
okay,
hosted a new championship on, I think it's ACC, and I think like the prize pool is like 10 grand. And this is like the premier British GT championship, and it's like 10 grand in British GT. That's like a splitter or something. Like that's nothing. And yet you guys are refusing to put up more money. It's like, come on, just yeah, put up the money. Like these, such a big company that like they can afford to play a risk and put 100 grand up for a tournament.
again, I go like I dream that, and I know I said it before. I'll say it again. I hate so much racing as a driver. It's unbelievable. But I hope iRacing will put some money or more money so they can replace Gran Turismo for the Olympics.
Sure, yeah,
I don't agree as a former athlete that sim racing should be at the Olympics, but that's another discussion. But if they are, as much as I hate iRacing, I'll rather be iRacing because it's in theory more realistic or like has more depth in some way. Not that Gran Turismo doesn't, it does. And Gran Turismo has a much bigger player base. But I think iRacing, sim racing wise for Olympics it's a better fit in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's it'd be better for sure. I've been doing some work with Gran Turismo actually recently, like for a client, and trying to figure out everything with Gran Turismo. It makes me appreciate. I've really come to appreciate just how like easy it is to host stuff on um like iRacing. Like for example, British F4. There's not really a sim that you could host British F4 on like an esports championship other than iRacing. In terms of like, you could get like the game developers to do something for you, but like iRacing is like the one game which enables you to actually do it yourself. Like British F4 don't even need to ask, or maybe they probably need to ask a bit of permission from iRacing, but like they can pretty much host it all themselves. They don't need any help. And Gran Turismo doesn't have that, frustratingly. But iRacing is certainly much better for that.
So in terms of iRacing losing this spot, they have the money and have the player base compared to ACC, AC, compared to whatever. So a new company, let's say AC2, well, they have to have deep pockets, and they also have to believe they can bring the player base. It's okay, you don't have to beat iRacing in player base, but having, I don't know, 10,000 online versus 160,000 for like active users, well, that's a difference. You should get closer.
Mm.
And then you can do some damage. Because all the license, like ACC has the license from Black Painter, right? The first 2 years, it was like a big boom, or maybe 3 years. But then once the content didn't come, you get bored. Same track, same cars. Okay, they have nodes now. 5 years too late.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's why it's hard to couple iRacing.
Yeah, you need like something that pulls people back. Like like one of the things with iRacing, which like is like a really big thing, is iRating. Like iRating is casually the thing that I think brings back so many people to the sim, and it's worthless. Like this is what I tell people: it's that iRating means nothing. The purpose of iRating is a matchmaking thing to judge how good you are, so that you race against similarly matched people. You shouldn't try to be inflating your iRating. If you're inflating your iRating, if you're the level of 3K and you get your iRating up to 4K, that's a bad thing, because now you're in races where you're racing against people who are too good. But it's the thing that brings people back. It's the thing that people think, I really want to get to 4K, even though it doesn't mean anything. Just in people's minds, it means something because it's a number and they want to increase it. And I guess it's because it's a representation of how good they are, so they feel like they're getting better. But I don't think any other sim has that. Like now with LFM, like I mentioned before, I think you do have a rating on LFM as far as I'm aware. So that helps a little bit with that. But yeah, ACC for years didn't have that pull factor to come back, because as you say, it was just the same cast, the same chance. So yeah, you need that pull factor, and iRacing have absolutely nailed that. But absolutely, it's like if you can beat iRacing when it comes to user numbers, the other companies are going to go to that. The licenses are going to go to other places. The teams are going to go to other places as well. And that was sort of, I think, the hope with Rensport a lot of the time as well. But unfortunately, obviously, that hasn't come to fruition, certainly at least not yet. But yeah, if they can beat it when it comes to numbers, then yeah, the licenses are going to be like, well, we don't want to be messing our time with 10,000 players. We want to be promoting our products to 100,000 players. So yeah, I know maybe it will change very quickly, but yeah, at the moment, yeah, as you say, there needs to be a game which properly rivals iRacing when it comes to usership and blow it out the water.
You said anything. Another debate with David. Again, he's 9.7K. Said, bro, there are some drivers in some championship, BSR, Apex, other champ that don't care at all about everything, and they're like fucking flying.
Yeah.
And he said, no, because then they should be have a higher I rating. Bro, they don't care about I rating. They just do this community races. And David, I'm sorry. He comes last year at Apex Endurance in the LNDH class, and he gets owned.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bitch.
I think
But again, he doesn't get owned, but because he didn't do the work. But there was like five, 6K drivers, which he said, oh, 6K crash. And they're like matching him or faster than they're like, yo, David, I told you, you need to do like that. I have another question that I think so. I take it from soccer or like being an athlete. So when you think at a soccer player, or like speed, tactics, experience, you have like different criteria. Like if you have a card, you look at the numbers. What makes a great sim racer? Right.
I would say, I mean, I think the practice that they put in and sort of how they do practice as well is an absolutely massive thing. I think that's the thing that maybe impresses me most about the guys who race at the Apex Racing Sim Centre, who are like Jamie Fluke, Peter Bayman, Luke McCone, Kevin S. Jr., Michael Yanni, Johan Ha, and a couple of others as well who sometimes work here. They're able to just do hours after hours. So they can do, I think Michael for Pesk did like 8 hours a day for 5 days of just practice. And this is the Porsche Cup at Monza. It's not the most interesting car track combination in the world. And he's absolutely just churning it in. And that perseverance is absolutely essential, I think. Some guys obviously can sort of half get away with it, but like in order to get that extra bit of pace, you absolutely need that. I would say as well, I mean, like obviously I'm going to go back to what I said earlier on when it comes to like talent. Like there are certain guys, and I mean, like, you know, I was having a conversation with Jamie Fluke about this the other day, and the way that they looked like Seb Job. Like, I think at least amongst Apex, I think Sebastian Job is the guy who's maybe the best sim racer in the world at the moment. And yeah, Jamie's like, you know, he can jump into anything, any car, any game. Like the guy's doing F1 Esports, and I bet he's just won Pesk on iRacing. He's going to win British uh, Porsche as well. He's now doing. He nearly won ESLR one last year. He's gonna might win. He's now going to F1 Esports. Like, yeah, just that talent is sort of irresistible. So, like, I think, yeah, you can. It's I know it's a classic thing. It's just practice, the effort that you put into it. I guess also the coolness as well. Like especially with like how a lot of events are on iRacing and in sim racing generally. Like your ability to get that start off the line to be able to deliver the qualifying lap. In PESC, they get like one qualifying lap in order to set, and it's fine margins if you pick up a 1x and you're out of it potentially. So having that cool under pressure, I think, is an important element of it. To be able to think rationally when it comes to races, like there's some fantastic drivers who just are not able to keep their cool when it comes to racecrafts and just wipe out another driver and ruins their chances when it comes to the race. So yeah, I know. I guess sort of talent, mentality, and efforts. I guess are the three main things from my perspective when I see the guys race.
Okay, so but talent we cannot measure.
Mm.
We cannot put on a card talent 98,
Sure.
but it's required. But dedication we kind of can measure because we are 8 hours per day or like 14 hours per day. So I'll go dedication. But one thing that I learned by having a team is you might have the dedication because you're seeing something that you want, but if you don't like naturally like driving, you're doing out of whatever you want, like you want the $10,000. So yeah, let's say you have talent and dedication, but you don't enjoy it, you just grind. that's gonna suck. That's in 2 years done.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I
So
think Michael.
passion.
Yeah. Passion's a very good one. Yeah, like I think Michael Yanni, honestly, like I hope he enjoys it because he works harder than anyone else. I think when it comes to the team, like, and he races so many different cars, he does so many different events, and I think he does genuinely enjoy it. And I think as well, like, it's a big thing when it comes to, like, the team aspect on sim racing. Is like you need to have fun with your teammates. Like, if you're in Discord and you're enjoying working with one another and you're enjoying practice, or at least you make it more bearable for each other. You know, like that's a big thing. So yeah, like almost who your teammates are as well. It's like a massive element of being able to enjoy it and not absolutely hate it. And I mean we've had drivers as well who have raced in like multiple different sims as well, and sometimes they just cannot stand a sim and they almost refuse to drive the sim at that point, and it really affects their performance. Like like Jamie Fluke would very much be in your camp when it comes to iRacing. He hated iRacing last year in Pesk and really struggled in Pesk. Goes over to Rensport, ESL1, he's one of the best drivers in that. You know, he's beating the drivers who he was losing to in Pesk. So that enjoyment's difference, absolutely massive for Jamie last year.
What, since you have access to pro drivers, what what's their training regimen? It's only like racing, like track, or do we do some physical exercises, or like some mental exercises, or like how do they go about it?
I think it's a good question. Like we did do some work with the psychologist actually last year when it came to ESLR1. Like I think really when it came to ESLR1, like ESLR1 is um, such a small margin series because it's fixed setup. You've got like 5 tracks. Like last year at the start of the season, there were 4 tracks, maybe even 3. Um, and the guys were sticking to one car because GT3s, and you have to stick with one car. And so you were doing a month of practice on one car track combination. You're only practicing qualifying, and that's because the race doesn't matter. Like if you get a good position in qualifying, you're done. And so when it came to that, we did sort out a psychologist just to get anything extra, because if you could just get a more consistent qualifying, if you could perform 4 laps out of 5 rather than 2 laps out of 5, that would make a massive difference when it came to your position. So we have done a little bit of that, and the guys do take their fitness quite seriously as well. Like, and particularly when it comes to like leading up to a LAN event, being able to like sleep well, just get into like a good sleep routine, which is tricky for sim racers. Like the guys here have awful sleep routines most of the time. Like they're waking up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon a lot of the time. But like when it comes to like a sim racing event, they'll think, all right, the event is going to be on. I mean, too, they're waking up at 2 in the afternoon. That's actually a good thing, because if the event's on at 7 o'clock, they'll think, all right, I'm going to be at my peak level at that moment. And of course, just making sure that, you've eaten at the right time during the day, and you learn what works for you in terms of sometimes you can work on an empty stomach and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes one of the things that Jamie and Kev were chatting about last year was how sorts of I guess sort of like aggressive or like angry almost they got into the car, and Kev was actually finding that he drove better when he was angry. If he was like calm getting into the rig and he didn't care about stuff and he was trying to stay calm, he would do worse, because he needs that extra emphasis that I need to do well on this lap. Like I absolutely need to do well on this lap. Jamie, on the other hand, he wants to be as calm as possible. So getting into that right headspace as well is a really big thing. So I'd say, yeah, like in terms of like obviously getting the practice in, that's fairly standard. But yeah, I think getting into that right headspace and just like figuring out who you are, like when it comes to like your mentality, when it comes to your nutrition, when it comes to your sleep patterns. Yeah, I think it's like a really important thing that the drivers figure out after a few esports tournaments.
Did you have any success as you can speak with the sports psychologist? I'm not pretending to be one, but I did psychology of sports, so I know some stuff. I'm not I didn't do a license or anything. The thing that I found out the most while having a team and trying to dabble with some drivers in that is either because I don't race anymore, they're distrusting that my advices are good, or because uh, they're not, they have no clue about psychology, and like they disregard it a little bit. Oh, I'm young, I'm fit, I should be able to just do it. They don't take the advices, or like they really push on the advices. Did you find that, or like did you have some other success?
I think the drivers really adopts it well. To be fair, like I think the psychologist that we dealt with like was really good at sort of because I think it was sim racing specific, and so like it was. I think sometimes if there's if we had someone from like a different sport come in and tell them how to drive, they might be a bit like, what are you doing, man? Like you don't know what you're doing when it comes to this. Whereas I think because he was like a sim racer himself, like he knew sort of how to get the drivers sort of engaged when it came to that stuff. So from what I heard of them, I wasn't really sure exactly what like the stuff that they did, but the guys were very positive about it, and like they realize that they need everything that they get. No, there's no arrogance. I don't know if it's the same with like real life motorsport where maybe the drivers think that they're the best on the grid. I don't know how true that is, but in sim racing, it's very humbling because you're in the same car. If you're finishing 10, you can't pretend that you're the best driver on the grid. You're the 10th best driver on the grid. And so they know that they've got to get any extra element. And to give credit to them, they are really like accepting and thankful for any advantage that anyone can give them because they appreciate how significant that is.
That's nice. Listen, that Bobo, one of my drivers. Um, what's if you can tell, do you like or do you or, or do you have some affinity towards some driver in Apex or in general? Like oh, that I really like that driver in some reason.
I think everyone who works at the Sim Center, because like I've worked like shoulder to shoulder with them, so that is a bit of a cop out answer. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, like to have those guys because I because it's really tough for those guys. I know that a lot of people say, "Oh, you're driving video games for a living," but I can do what they do. Like, even if I had the ability to do it when it comes to pace, like I wouldn't want to do what they do because it is such hard, like grueling work, and like obviously it's a sport where you're not winning 99% of the time. Like, there's a very small percentage of people who can win these top events. Unfortunately, we have a few of them like working with us, but like you have to face a lot of losses and you have to accept maybe that you're not going to win every time. Even if you put in all that effort and it might fail, and of course, these guys realize that their careers as well aren't necessarily going to last forever. If they don't perform, then they're not going to be retained by the team. Like, it's a lot of pressure. So, and of course, they're fighting for prize money as well, which is a big part of like that salary. So, uh, I'm just happy whenever they can win because I don't like because I like them to be like around, and I realize that it's a cutthroat sport that if they're not performing, then they're not going to be able to do it forever. Like they are driving to survive all the time. So um, yeah, it's just to see them work hard and achieve something is like a really satisfying thing to witness.
Okay, let's go about this in a different way. So we have driving styles. So people that are more aggressive, and if they see a gap, they're like, go for it. Doesn't matter if it's like the final of Porsche Cup or like a regular race. They'll go for it 99% of the time. Then you have like the nickname, the professor, that they'll wait for the mistake, they'll push, they'll like put pressure and they wait for the mistakes. Different driving styles. Which driving style do you like approach?
Aggressive, because that's more entertaining. And sometimes we
Okay.
have to do like social media stuff, and it's much easier to find a good overtake rather than a safe drive.
Okay, sure. So, what apex would you consider is the most aggressive or like the most pinpoint? Oh, there's the gap, boom, done.
Um,
Don't
I
say all of
think
them.
no, like I'd say maybe it's tricky because maybe if I'm going to say name, I'd probably say like Johan Huff. I think is maybe
Okay.
one of the more aggressive drivers, or maybe Alejandro Sanchez actually as well, who doesn't work at the Sim Center, but of course is a very much a staple of Apex Racing team. Um, but I'm hesitant to call them too aggressive because they are quite smart when it comes to racing. Johan had a really tough race. I was mentioning earlier on how he lost like 7 grand of prize money the other day because of an incident that wasn't his fault. And I'm sure he was shouting. I wasn't there at the time, but I'm sure he was shouting his head off. Johan's is a very vocal driver. Even in practice, he'll be just shouting absolutely anything. Um, he kept his cool even when he got wiped out, which is like an impressive thing for a guy to be able to maintain. I say one of the more passive drivers I say is Jamie Fluke. I say he's not. He's got a nickname, the nicest guy in sim racing,
Okay.
and he hates that nickname. But he is quite a safe driver, I'd say. I can't remember many instances that he's been in. I think he may have taken out like Jordan Caruso, Kota last year in Pesca. Like that's one of the few incidents. But to be fair, him and Kev last year, and maybe Johan as well, when they were racing in ESL R1 last year, they got like no penalty points in the second season. Like it was really impressive. All these other teams are getting penalty points in qualifying bans or whatever, and these guys are staying clean as anything. So yeah, Jamie in particular, the cleanest driver, I think. Johan maybe a bit more aggressive, Kev maybe in the middle.
So here's an idea. You film, you make videos of Johan during practice when he curses or screams or stuff like that. So you have that benchmark of shorts, reels, and then when he gets wiped out and does say nothing, then you put that as a reel also. And the
Yeah.
so
Spot the footage. Like, guess what the reaction is too. Um,
are you yourself doing or did any real life racing track days, something?
yeah. So when I was between about the age of 8 and 13, I did a lot of karting, just at like a local level. Did a couple of like national events as well, but these are in like cadet karts. And yeah, like I enjoyed it at the time. The last year was rough. Like it wasn't something that I wanted to continue doing because it's like the way that we were doing at least, and this is how all karting parents and all karting families do it. You're away like 3 or 4 weekends a month. Like you don't get spare time. You come home from school on the Friday. You get in a motorhome. We bought a motorhome. We called it Elvis because it had a quiff at the top of it. And we would drive to maybe 3 hours to a kart circuit. We'd stay there, and then on the Sunday evening we'd be back back home, and then of course you're back to school on Monday. Obviously, some kids just don't go to school, and so they might go on the Thursday and do 2 days of school, for example. I feel like Norris may be one of them who did that. And it sometimes gets to that point where like you are practicing so much, and if it's something that you want to do, then yeah, you're doing that. But yeah, basically the free time, I wanted more free time at that point. I wasn't enjoying it as much. I also realized I was never going to make it professional as well. You always had that dream when you're kids. That 13-year-old me was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. You know what? I think I'm on a similar level in sim racing as I am, as I was in real life. Like I'm now like 3.8k. I was 4.5k a few years ago. I was like 800 in the world or something, which I think would put me like 6k nowadays. So like I'm probably about that level, which is like good, but it's not good enough to like be a professional driver. So that was my karting experience at least.
Does your family or friends outside of sim racing like support what you're doing, or are they involved, or like, do they watch the broadcast, or you keep them separate lives?
My parents like support me a lot when it comes to that stuff. Like my mum watches, me and David do a podcast called The Late Apex on a Friday night, and my mum sometimes likes to watch that. She complains that I don't like call her enough, so she'd like to hear my voice. So if that means that she has to listen to a broadcast, that's what she will do. I think they all think it's quite cool. I think just the element of it, that is just something that I enjoy. Like whenever you know someone who is earning a living doing something that they enjoy, you feel happy for them. So they've always been very supportive. And yeah, my friends are quite like, that's quite cool as like a job as well. Like they sort of appreciate, like, hang on, like what you do that for full time, like you actually get paid for that and you do it full time is yeah. So everyone's very supportive of that.
Very nice. That's awesome. It's awesome because like I have, like let's say my team coming from Eastern Europe, parents or communities are not so knowledgeable about sim racing / gaming. I mean, you tell them, yo, I do this and it's simulation. And like, what the fuck are you talking about? About like, it's Counter Strike for cars. I'm like, man, no, it's okay, forget it. It's okay.
Yeah. People think that it's on like a controller, and you're like, what? So you race against people like on a controller in pretend race cars, which has no relation to real life. Like what? Like yeah, people don't realize what it is in real life.
Yeah, get a life is like the thing.
Yeah.
Give me a hot take.
Oh, what like about hot take about sim racing.
Anything.
Oh, about anything.
We can do sim racing because we're talking sim racing, but anything else.
Oh, geez. I think I'd say like the talent element of motorsport, I think is like something that I mentioned earlier on. I feel like that's quite unpopular to say, oh, it's just about talent. But I truly believe that that is a big element of it. What's going through my mind at the moment is that I studied, so at university I studied philosophy, politics, and economics. And I don't want to say something too political, but yeah, I think. And do I have any F1? You know what? I'm not sure how hot a take this is because I think it's obvious. But in Formula One, you should get points down to 15. I think that's, to me, is the most obvious thing that the sport can do. People always complain about, oh, it's really dull. And the reason why it's dull is because half the positions don't matter. I mean, that's part of the reason why it's dull. But like, part of like, if you had the battle for 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th to actually count for something, then it would be a way better sport. So they need to do that. Also, Hulkenberg would score more points.
Yeah. Let me help you with that with Formula One. I'll give you a hot take. Again, I watched Formula One from '97. Hot take from me. Formula One now is racing for disabled people because you have push to pass, DRS, like safety zones. You cannot really be aggressive because then you're gonna get punished. And I'm like, bro, this is not what I grew up with. And I understand they have to be safe. But again, you choose to come to Formula One. There's some risk there. You cannot make it like with all of that. And then I go watch MotoGP and like 370 door. Like I understand that the bikes are narrower, but they still fly off at 300 kilometers an hour and they race in the rain. And I'm like, bro, I love Formula One, but MotoGP for me is like, oh, okay, that's the internet. Now. Sadly, this past weekend, I found out that Liberty Media bought MotoGP.
Mm.
And I'm like,
I don't know how it's even legal, because how can one company own the two biggest motorsports in the continent? You know, like it should anti-monopoly laws should prevent that from happening. Absolutely crazy.
I'm really sad. So I'm banking on BTCC, IndyCar, VRC, and World Superbike, and British BSB. Wow.
Although I think I think the Liberty Media, I think they bought World Superbikes as well. I feel like it's all part of the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so scratch that. Well, BSB.
Sure.
Those guys in BSB, they fight like crazy on those UK tracks. They fly. I love it so much.
Yeah, is it Cadwell Park? It's like how old do they go around there? Like absolutely craziness.
You need to be a little bit local.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna help you out with a hot take. What's wrong with iRacing?
What's the number one thing wrong with iRacing? See, I don't mind that much about the time model. I know a lot of people would care about the time model, but like, I could look past that if the rest of it is more fun, I guess. They need to indulge more in single seaters. I think like that's like a big issue. I'm a single seater person. I like the Indy car. I like one of my favorite cars ever on iRacing was the FW31, and yet everything is so focused towards like PT3s and Porsche Cup, and so yeah, I think they need to have more pro series in single seaters. Bring back the iRacing Grand Prix World Championship series. I absolutely love that. Kroenke versus Hootie, amazing rivalry. That's the rivalry that I think of when it comes to sim racing rivalry. Like,
imagine that rivalry in this day and age with the social media and someone pushing that. That would be good marketing.
Yeah. 2016 was a fantastic season between the two of them. Really going one after the other. The point system was awful, unfortunately. It was like 50 points for a win, like 47 per second or something. Like I actually had no idea what they were doing. But like those two were, and we talked about it earlier on, where you go into, I was a Hootsie fan. So I wanted Hootsie to win because I saw him as like this legendary driver and I wanted to see him win. A bit like Federer in the later parts of his career, you want to see the legends win. And yeah, like I really got engaged with that. So yeah, they need to bring if it's even if it's not in an F1 car, bring it back in the IndyCar. And now that they got the IndyCar license, there's no reason why they shouldn't do that.
I'm gonna say two different things. One is netcode, even though maybe it's not as prevalent. And I had a driver in my team, and he said, "Yeah, but the other teams have it also. Him not playing the other scene, like, bro, no. ACC has like, and I'll take that above netcode. But the race from where factory MS, again, little drivers, we focus only on this netcode area. Door-to-door racing in other scenes is more safe and more weird. You have less of weird angles when you like fly off. So that's one thing. And if the other sims can do it, because also the other sims, they all have from all over the world. So that's one thing. And one other thing is I'm trying not to be selfish here because I hate racing. But iRacing, open the market, buy the licenses, BTCC, BTCC, ADAC, DTM. Come on, what are we doing? And fix the braking. That's the thing I hate about iRacing. I cannot.
Oh, the braking, okay.
For the life in me.
So I think iRacing is a bit more of a like on Rennsport you can basically mash the brake pedal. ACC you can pretty much mash the brake pedal. iRacing you can't. So it's that element that you don't like about it.
So, but again, I have an ego here, and I know I have an ego. Imagine this. This is my story. So, in 2017 is the VTCC World Championship, like the qualifying. And from out of 8,000 people, and this is going to sound like a brag, but it's an example. From 8,000 people, I qualified in ninth in WCTC. So I have some school.
Nice.
So, now, because I'm a truck driver and I'm trying to race from the truck now at home, internet is important. And race from F-Factor to an ACC, they don't allow me. They'll drop me after 150 or 200 ping. I can't race. So, like it or not, I have to switch to racing because I don't get robbed. And being a truck driver, I have races whenever I want. So, great. GTCC cars are terrible. But again, I come from 13 years of smashing the brake pedal and breaking from there.
Sure.
And now I have some access to some fast drivers like David or stuff. I did coaching with Jen Simons.
Okay.
So love the guy. But he told me, racing, you need to lift off before the braking, brake 70, 60, 80, whatever the percentage is, track car combo, and do the oversteer end. And that's everything. And there's no way, I cannot do it. I tried multiple things. Like I have VRS pedals with the Synergic handle motors. So I feel the ABS, so I want bumpers. For me, smashing the brake makes the most sense. And I'm having huge debates with David and other people, and we send each other driver pedal cams, and he said, "Oh, Lando doesn't brake 100%." And I'll find a driver that brakes 100%. And look, this guy's braking 100%. So I never raced in real life, so I don't know if he's 100% or not.
Sure.
But that's what I'm used to, and I don't agree what racing is doing with the braking. So I hate it so much.
Yeah. I particularly when it comes to like the ABS cars as well, it does feel it shouldn't really be like that. Something else that I thought of when it comes to, I'm not sure how hot a take it is, but I think something to counteract your negativity about iRacing. My hot take about iRacing is I think iRacing has done an incredibly good job over the years at picking the circuits to scan. They sometimes get stick for having scanned bad circuits, but I think there is barely any circuits on iRacing, or barely any circuits that aren't on iRacing that really need to be on iRacing. Like I sort of think of maybe like Portland, and I don't know why that's not on there yet, seeing that's always been in IndyCar, and like Paul Ricard's.
There's some Asia track,
And you
Malaysia.
there's I guess like Bahrain and stuff, but I'm not a big fan of those tracks anyway, honestly. So I think they've done a really good job at like getting good circuits. Like when they could have, when they were scanning circuits, they could have either got maybe Algarve, like Portimao, or Paul Ricard, and they chose to get Portimao, which is obviously a much better circuit. So I think credit to iRacing, I think they've got really good circuits over the years, and I think that's something that they don't get enough credit for. Is actually the fact that they've got a really good comprehensive list now of European and American circuits.
I don't disagree. The only thing I dislike is braking because I'm not fast. So I'll be honest. And the net code. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Tell me a joke that you know about UK people, like stereotypes. About your area. Stereotype joke.
A stereotypical joke.
About UK people in general, or like if you can go where you're born.
So Norfolk's got a bad reputation. In Norfolk, we're known for having messed up genetics. So like jokes about having 6 fingers, or 11 fingers, I guess, is quite a common one when it comes to Norfolk, because the perception is that we're all farmers, and like Norfolk is so for people who aren't aware of where Norfolk is, it's like, and I'm not sure I understand if you're not familiar with it, but it's like you got like the UK, and you got like a bulge out in like the east. It's not the bit at the bottom that's like Kent, that's like Norfolk they live, but then you got like a bigger bulge above it, and so that's where Norfolk is. So that's a bad rep. Corby though, I don't think Corby has that bad a rep. Like Corby, people don't realize that Corby exists. So that's where I live now. This is where the sim center is. The reason why it's here is because it was the best place for Alex and Lee. But it's like in the UK, like the Midlands or the East Midlands is quite a heavy place when it comes to like the motorsport world. So you got like Silverstone, for example, is like an hour south, I think, from here. Um, so it is like the northern edge of kind of of like motorsport valley, really, when it comes to the UK. But yeah, Corby's nice.
Okay.
Corby's really nice. I don't want to say anything bad about Corby. The county council did go bust though. They spent a lot of money on a swimming pool and a cinema. I'm the only one who go. I'm a big film fan. I'm the only one who goes to the cinema. I I reckon it's the most deserted cinema in the entire country. I have been probably about 25 times, and I reckon there's been more than 10 people there about 4 times. I reckon at the cinema. So that's Corby for you. There's lots of stuff, but no one to use it.
So swimming pool in UK, that sounds like a great idea.
We got enough water.
Tell us a secret that most people don't know about you.
A secret that most people don't know about me. Well, it's not really a secret as such, but it's more of a boast because I'm really proud of it. But last year I got a mohawk during the summer, so I might do the same this year. I'll send you a picture. Well, I could send you a picture now if you want.
Just send it on Discord.
I'll try to find it. But yeah, like I'm proud of it. I mean, this is really getting off topic, but oh no, how am I going to find this as well? Actually, it's probably on my phone. Yeah, I can find it on my phone. But yeah, my family has a crazy. Do you have crazy golf? I assume over there, like mini golf,
Yeah.
where you like hit a golf ball through like a windmill or some stuff. And we have a crazy golf tournament every year, which involves 5 courses in a day, and we like to sort of dress up when it comes to that. And I thought, what better way to dress up than to shave my head? So I was completely bald on the side, and just had some pokey up hair in the middle. Let's see if I can find this. I'm gonna have to scroll back. It was last August. But yeah, it was good fun. It's really weird to have a bald head because you feel the weather a lot more. You like have it shaved and then you feel like the winds and everything, like way more than what you would do normally.
It's called aerodynamics.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I didn't go any faster when I was in the sim whilst I had it. I think have I got it? Oh, it's gonna be really annoying if I haven't got it.
That was then, but I have a question, and since you're more in this than me, so I do this out of sheer curiosity. I love sim racing. I spend a lot of time, money on it, and I like to know people that enjoy the same passion as me. When I do these things, again, I do it out of curiosity. I kind of want to show or like to know myself, and if somebody watches, all good. If not, also good. Is to know more the people more than sim racing. Like you telling me about you did university, Mohawk, and all of the real life. It's more a memory, right?
Yeah.
So I love creating memories, but I have this idea to do this, whatever this is. But like with Judge Simon is a prime example. So what I like to do is like, okay, I know I'm going to talk with you. I'm going to do a little bit of what do you call it, stalking on social media, and maybe get a picture, or maybe ask some people like your boss or David didn't answer, or another guy didn't answer. Your boss didn't answer either. So I'll go ask you. I'm going to do an interview, Sam. It's going to be not live. So please send me some like interesting details of like to put him in difficulty, or like some interesting questions.
Sure.
So I like that. I think it's a good idea. But some people, when I approach other people from their circle, they get upset, which is fair enough.
Sure.
Because I'm kind of stalking online, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. I don't think that's nice. I agree. But since this is not live and you can edit anything that is not inappropriate, I'm thinking, yeah, but nothing is going to happen. So what should I do? Keep trying that, or like scrap it, and because 2024 and people are more sensible?
I mean, I think it's fine to look at that stuff, right? I think it's good to know who your interviewee is. You'd really struggle with me because I despise social media. I think it's a dreadful thing. So I'm barely on social media. I think I have a Facebook account, but like I don't post anything on it. But yeah, I think looking at that stuff is pretty good. And you might find someone with a mohawk or something. Like it can be good. I did send you the image, by the way. I mean, I look back at it. It's not the best mohawk. It's a bit too wide, but like,
Yeah,
that's me.
yeah,
So
that's amazing.
it's quite different to what I have now. This is pretty much the longest I've ever had my hair. I've got almost like it's getting there with the back. So I haven't cut it for like 4 months or something, but it grows quick. But yeah, that was my mohawk.
I contacted your boss on LinkedIn. No answer. Okay, I contact. I contact the team. And I spoke with him on Discord in the past. He didn't answer. Like, come on, team. I'm sure you have like some good questions or like some spicy things. Some said also like, but he doesn't know me on Discord, so maybe you will see a pending there from a weird guy who will not answer, which is fine. But I wanted like for Charles, for the Olympus guy, for the Olympus team owner, I had some question like from the team, and it was like, oh, who's your favorite team member? And you're like, oh no, no,
Yeah.
Well, yes, we are. I wanted that to do, but it is what it is. Final two things. Do you have an excuse dictionary? Like, drivers have excuses. Do you have one for commentator? Like, oh, I was.
That's a really good question. I think in my mentality, I think I am quite like almost like a guilty person, where if something goes wrong, I take responsibility for it. So I'm almost like the anti-ness of that. Like yesterday, I did a commentary and I actually messed up on a couple of things, and I felt bad during it. That I'm like, come on, Sam, you gotta sort yourself out, mate. You're meant to be doing this well. So I would say when something goes wrong with a commentary, I hold my hands up and say I should have done more research about it. Like, that's the big thing with commentary. I think it's like knowing who the drivers are, knowing what the series is like. And if you don't know those things, I think the only person you can blame is yourself.
Okay.
So I like to think I never blame anyone but myself if I mess up something.
But you don't have like, I don't know, I had a bad day, I didn't sleep, it's raining outside, whatever.
No, because I think in my mindset, I'd say I should have slept more. Like, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that I had this thing coming up, so I should have slept more, so I was more prepared.
Right.
That's how I would think about it.
Last question. Since we're talking about sim racing, overall, all platforms, is there a, I don't know, let's say sim racing is 20 years old, roughly. Is there a sim racing legend?
A sim racing legend. Oh, yeah. Well, Gregor Hutsu,
Okay.
I'd say. Gregor Hutsu is the Fangio of sim racing. Yes. Like, he was, I mean, obviously 5-time world champion, a bit like Fangio. And it was the first one to do it. And like as well, like I mean, the parallels are quite there because I didn't know that much about Fangio, but like I don't know how professional of a driver he was. Like I feel like back in those times, they were still like working part-time, doing other stuff, and then they would, do a race as well. And Gregor was the exact same, like you'd earn 10 grand a year to the prize money from iRacing and probably a few other things as well when it comes to sponsorship. But yeah, he was the first to do it, and so yeah, he's the legend. I think right now that the two best drivers in the world are Josh Rogers and Seb Jobe, and I think they could become legends as well in future. Is it Brendan Lee the first F1 Esports winner? I think he's maybe not a legend, but I think just a recognizable figure who I think will stick around because he was the first. I think he won the first two titles actually of F1 Esports and did some very famous stuff in the first one. He had like a finger wag in the first ever F1 Esports LAN event. But yeah, I would say Jobe and Rogers are the two who will become legends. Hoots, who is the number one legend at the moment.
I agree. I was lucky enough to, I think in 2009 at the race department, before, like in 2007 and 8, Hoot was racing at race department on Race of 7. So I saw some races and he was racing like touring cars also. Like, yes, let's go. I got to see that prime and the whole story with America and everything. So yes, Hoot definitely a legend. For me, maybe I'm not as involved in iRacing, but I will agree with your two nominations. I'm trying to think of another.
I mean, the other guy that comes to mind from the past at least is like I think Kroenke is up there as well. The fact that Kroenke, like that season that Kroenke put together back in 2017 in the F1. Oh, no, it wasn't 2017. It was 2018, where he won every race in the season. Like that's like insane. That guy was so much better than everyone else at that point.
For me, Kroenke is like Rosberg. So
okay, yeah,
he was always there and thereabouts. And then you're like, this is it. This is the season. Let's go. And then he like, I'm not saying he's slow by any stretch of imagination, but that was like the biggest shine. And then,
yeah, I think he did like a season of Pesk, didn't he? I think he did the first season of Pesk. I think he now works as like a software engineer. I think I've heard that he's a really smart guy, and I think he earns a lot of money. Yeah, doing software engineering. I think now I'm not 100% sure about that, but yeah, like you're right. He was the best driver in the world for like 3 years. Either side of that wasn't a big name.
I'll put, I don't know, but I like him and I talked to him. Again, we're not friends or anything, but I'll put Sven. That's it.
Okay. Who was that? Sorry, Sven?
Sven Hasse.
Oh, Sven Hasse, sure, yeah.
I think he has a good approach and he's fast. He's always there. So,
what's he? What does he race mainly, Sven?
GT3, GT4, he has the grid and go team. He's 11K.
Okay, yeah.
And he's the official account is 10K. So like, anyway, the last thing.
Yeah, like.
Say. Also, finish.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, like, has Sven taken part in main like esports competitions? Because I don't think he's done PES or anything, has
but he does the special event, and he's like, for me, legend. My definition is not only being fast or like win, but also take the community and raise it. Like who did that by exposing the iRacing and also the transition with what he did with the track. So yes, Good was extremely fast, he won everything everywhere, but his, let's say, results to raise the community or the awareness. In my mind, maybe I was dreaming. So I feel that same with Sven somehow, because he's aggressive, but some of his moves will get outside of the sim racing, so that will race. And last thing, I sent you a link on Discord.
Oh, okay.
It's a reaction test.
Oh, okay.
You have to do it 5 times. and at the fifth time you will have an average. So you'll take
Okay.
the screenshot of the average.
Oh man.
And we have the leaderboard. I have Alexander Spets on the leaderboard. I have Listoka. No, I don't have Listo. I have like David Mozga, my team, Olympus team, some other guys.
Okay. I mean, this would be really fun if I could win this. But I've done these in school. I think the last one I did when I was like 14 or something. And I think I was like average, maybe a bit above average. So we'll see.
Do you want to know the times? Or like keep it secret?
No, don't tell me the times. Otherwise, it'll put too much pressure. And then once I say my time, you can hype it up and then leave me surprised.
Okay. I'll shut up
Cool.
now. Just do it live on your phone or on the
Okay.
PC.
Shall I? Can I share my screen or should I not bother?
You can share, but suggestion: do it on the PC.
What's that? Sorry.
Suggestion: do it on the PC.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'll do it on PC. Yeah, how if I share my screen?
You should have a button down below.
Then yes, window. I'll share that one. Here we go. I mean, that looks very messy at the moment, but yeah, you can see that now.
Yes.
Lovely stuff. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I think I know what's like a good score, and I think a good one is about 220. I think is like a really good. I think 281 is a bit below average, so I need to get better really. Oh man, I'm getting slower. This isn't good. Three tenths is bad. This is not good. I'm going to be near the bottom, I think. Okay, that's more like it. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
2, 3, 4. That's probably good.
I think you'll need. You need to do it 2 more times.
Okay, here we go. Okay, that's all right. I mean, I'm still improving my average with that one. So one more time. The thing is, I know. So I think 0.2 is like perfect. So I need to get as close to that. Okay, that's all right.
So
270.
There's the average.
Yeah, that seems to be the average. 272 is the
Take a
average.
screenshot and send it.
Cool. Okay.
167 average.
So what? 167. But that's inhuman.
Below 110 is because like if you go to athletics.
Oh, is it a 10?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So let's say 167 is top. 287 at the moment is like the bottom. So we have 272. So not left. Just below it.
So what was the bottom?
287.
287. Wow, I'm really not good, am I? Oh no. I mean, I didn't think I did that. I didn't think I did well. I didn't think I did that badly. So
let me give you some. We have a driver in our team, Gordon Marshall. He's 52. He has 220 average.
Oh man, 220.
And
I'm not even close.
I have 223. I'm 14. The guy in the last place, he's 62. And he has 287. So closer to 60 than 50.
Oh no! This was a mistake. This whole thing was a mistake. Absolutely awful.
Let's go back by previous guest, Charles, the boss of Olympus, 225.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like, so I thought 220 was like
That's all
amazing.
like what are you
I
talking
thought that
about?
was like really good. So I, I'm impressed by those people. I'm ashamed by myself, but I'm impressed by those people as well.
Yeah, well, and it was like, let's say one of my, like some of my drivers did it multiple times so we can improve it. Because you can improve it. If you do it 10
Okay.
times, you can improve it. But I asked you, can you do this? He did it once, 167 average. Like, whoa.
I mean, that's talent. It goes back to what I was saying, just pure talent.
Sam, it was an absolute pleasure. Very nice to meet you, know you.
Yeah, very much. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It's just nice to chat about something that you enjoy, right?
It's like,
So yeah.
We didn't go through all, but most of it, I think we can go 3-4 hours easy. That's one complaint I have about your Friday podcast. It's way too short. That's it for me.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah.
For me, it's like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. We an hour and 10 is usually what we average. So yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll up it. Maybe we'll up it.
But maybe I'm in the minority. I watch when Joe Rogan comes with a 5-hour episode. I'm like, okay, let's go. No, we're talking. When you come with an hour, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. But anyway, the final thing is that no, one more final thing, and this is why I hate Road Atlanta. So I put tracks in 3 categories: driver tracks, the driver enjoys driving, and fan tracks, where the fan gets a good experience. Like you have passing opportunities. The race is more interesting. Atlanta is good for driver, but not good for. It's not raceable. To passing opportunities, and if you do multi-class, lots of crashing. What passing opportunities you have at Atlanta? It's like at the end of the straight and the end of the straight.
Yeah. I think Road Atlanta's a very good overtaking track because you got the long back straight, and then you got I can't see that.
Monza.
I need to extend. Oh, here we go. Now I can see it. Oh, Monza. Well, yeah. I mean, Monza's maybe the most raceable circuit ever. Yeah. Would you say Monza's a driver's circuit as well? No. I mean, I would agree. It's not a driver's circuit.
Not. It's not. It's hard to be extremely fast on it. Like you have to nail the chicane and everything, but it's not a driver track. Atlantic is not like it is. I don't know. Bathurst is. I understand what is a driver track because I have to enjoy it. It's the challenge of driving it. But Atlantic, it's only 2 passing opportunities, and as soon as you do multi-class, done. That's my.
I like multi-class like that, though. I like the chaos.
Okay. My bad. Okay. That's it. Thank you very much. Awesome. And
No problem.
free Apex Endurance comes soon.
Watch this space, is all I'll say.
Okay. Bye, Sam.
See ya.
Ki, oi, skra,